Imagine pouring your heart and soul into building a brand that's widely considered the best in its field. Your graduates land jobs at top companies, your data is independently audited and verified, and your alumni are fiercely loyal. Then, one day, you discover that your entire reputation is being systematically destroyed by a single person, a person who happens to be your direct competitor, and who also happens to control the largest online community of your potential customers. This isn't a hypothetical scenario. This is the true story of Codesmith, a coding bootcamp that was once called the Harvard of its industry, and how one Reddit moderator nearly drove it into the ground. Let's start with the victim. Codesmith is a coding bootcamp in the United States, and by every objective measure, it was a powerhouse. Their employment data was audited by a third party called CRR, and the median salary for their graduates was well over $120,000 a year. In the real world, their alumni network was fanatical in its loyalty. But in the digital world, specifically on Reddit's largest programmer communities like r/coding bootcamp and r/career questions, Codesmith was treated like a pariah. Why? Because the moderator of those communities didn't like them. And this wasn't just a matter of personal taste. It was an ideological vendetta. The moderator believed that any paid training program was a scam, and that any positive review of Codesmith was obviously a paid shill. But here's the twist that makes this story truly chilling: that moderator had a secret identity. His own company was a direct competitor to Codesmith. So, who was this person pulling the strings? A researcher named Lars spent 487 days scraping historical data to uncover the truth. The mastermind was a man named Michael Novati, known on Reddit as Q_P. His resume was impressive on the surface. He was a former senior engineer at Meta, Facebook's parent company. He knew the platform's rules inside and out, and he knew how to exploit algorithmic loopholes. But that was only half the story. Michael Novati was also the founder and CEO of Formation, a company that directly competed with Codesmith for students. So, the CEO of a rival company had become the top moderator of the very subreddits where Codesmith's potential customers gathered to do their research. And he used that power to orchestrate a textbook case of black hat reputation management. Lars's investigation uncovered a 3-layer attack designed to be invisible and devastating. The first layer was automated keyword shadowbanning. Michael configured Reddit's auto-moderator bot to instantly shadowban any post that contained the word Codesmith alongside positive phrases like recommended, high salary, or great job. For those unfamiliar with Reddit, a shadowban is insidious. The person who posts can see their own content. It looks like it went through. But to everyone else in the community, that post simply doesn't exist. It's like shouting into a void. Real alumni would post their success stories, thinking they were helping others, but their posts were invisible to the hundreds of thousands of people browsing the subreddit. The second layer was even more manipulative. Michael deliberately preserved negative posts about Codesmith. If someone complained about the tuition being expensive, that post stayed up and was allowed to be discussed. But if a real alumnus replied to that complaint, saying something like, "Yes, it's expensive, but I got a job at Google because of it," that reply was instantly deleted. The result was a manufactured reality. A prospective student searching for information would see 10 posts, and all 10 would be negative. This created a powerful survivorship bias that could destroy any brand's reputation. Think about the customer journey. You've spent a fortune on marketing, building awareness, and getting people into the consideration phase. They're almost ready to make a decision. Then they go to Reddit, and they see nothing but horror stories. That cold splash of doubt is often enough to kill the sale. This is a critical moment in the customer journey that every marketer needs to watch for. For Codesmith, it was Reddit. For a B2B company, it might be a disgruntled client's LinkedIn post. For a local service business, it could be a few bad Google Maps reviews. The third layer was the most brazen. Codesmith's founder, Will Sentence, tried to engage directly with the community. He used his real name, he offered to provide data and evidence, and he responded to criticism honestly. Michael's response was to delete the founder's replies instantly and then post a pinned announcement to the entire subreddit, warning users that Codesmith was deploying a massive army of bots to infiltrate the community. He used his moderator authority to label the brand's own founder as a spammer. This was a devastating blow. The brand lost any chance to defend itself. And it didn't stop there. Michael took the fight to LinkedIn, personally attacking Codesmith employees. Will Sentence later revealed that this campaign didn't just affect his work, it affected his personal life in ways that were unacceptable. Now, if this had stayed within Reddit, Codesmith might have survived. But the real killer blow came from Google. In recent years, to fight AI-generated spam, Google has dramatically increased the search ranking weight of Reddit. Reddit posts now frequently appear in the top 3 results for many queries. Google's logic was that real human discussions on Reddit represented authentic user-generated content. But there's a cynical side to this. It's an open secret that Google and Reddit have a financial agreement worth about $60 million a year. Regardless of the reason, the result was a disaster for Codesmith. When you searched for Codesmith reviews or is Codesmith worth it, the top 2 results were those manipulated Reddit threads. The threads that had been carefully curated by a competitor to show only the worst possible picture. And it's not just Google. If you ask AI tools like ChatGPT or Google Gemini the same question, their answers are heavily influenced by those same search results. This is a textbook example of how a single volunteer moderator, by controlling a community, could use Google's algorithmic leverage to cost a company millions of dollars in lost revenue every year. Lars's investigation took months of work, using test accounts and scraping deleted post data to prove this reputation attack. He argues that this phenomenon is becoming more common. For many companies trying to market overseas, SEO is still seen as just creating content and building backlinks. But Lars sees the modern SEO landscape as a political battlefield. You have platform tyranny, where moderators hold unchecked power. You have algorithmic bias, where Google blindly trusts large platforms without considering internal manipulation. And you have a massive defensive gap, where traditional public relations tactics are almost useless against decentralized communities like Reddit. The cost of fighting back is enormous. So, what's the takeaway? This story is a warning. Your brand's reputation is no longer just in your hands. It can be hijacked by a single, motivated individual who understands the system better than you do. The lesson for every marketer, every founder, and every business owner is this: you must monitor the platforms where your customers gather. You must understand the power dynamics at play. And you must have a plan for when the system is weaponized against you. Because in the digital age, the most dangerous enemy isn't always a competitor with a better product. Sometimes, it's a competitor with a moderator badge and a grudge.